Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Apex Racing TV broadcast of the iRacing Le Mans series. Here at Le Mans, in fact, I am Joseph Ringrose, and joined alongside me is Mr. Marco Barbanero. Marco, would you like to say hello?
Hello everyone, hello Joseph. Yes, we are, at the namesake. The track that is the namesake of this series, Le Mans, and we have a great turnout of drivers for this 1 hour event around the Circuit de la Salle. So honestly, I cannot wait. We have 50 cars signed up for this race and a nice split of numbers of drivers in all the three classes. And so we're going to have, I think, a competitive race in all of the three classes, LMP1, LMP2 and GTE, with just a couple of minutes left in qualifying. And Joseph, qualifying is so important around here, especially because sometimes you cannot complete your second lap, especially if you make a mistake in the first one. Only 8 minutes, it's very, very tough to get it right.
Yeah, obviously the loading times can be an issue. It's helpful if obviously you start just before the 4 chicanes for these drivers, so they don't have to do a full pace lap. A lot of the prototype drivers, the LMP1 drivers, will use that first lap as a sort of no boost lap just to get their tyres up to pressure, so they can hit the proper speeds on those straights. And yeah, so then you'll see the likes of Patrick Wolff and Dominic Farber have done slower laps that you'd actually expect them would, as Dominic sets his proper lap of a 3:13.1. So yeah, gained 8 seconds on his original time. So a perfect example of, as I was talking about. And Patrick goes less than a tenth behind him, so it looks like it's going to be a pure racing team front row, Marco.
Exactly, yes. We have just a few seconds left, and I think basically that all the LMP1 drivers are done with their lap. Maybe Niklas Schneider is the only one left. Let's see if he can improve. On the right side of your screen, the weather conditions for this 1 hour race. As you can see, quite a nice track temperature, 27 degrees, 20 degrees air temperature. We have I'd say a middle of the day kind of weather condition, so it's not going to be a drastic change as we have seen in other races with maybe sun going down. And yes, I think that qualifying is over, so we can go through the starting grid.
We'll start off with your LMP1 field, and it is a pure racing team front row. As I said before, Dominic Farber coming out on top this time alongside Patrick Wolff. Carlo Usabi lines up in an impressive third with Alexander Wheatsville in P4. P5 is Raf van der Linden with Niklas Schneider behind him. Ismail Yakubu and Adam Shipstone line up on the fourth row of the grid. Robert Edouard and Fabian Jungbluff on the fifth row. Javier Borges is P11, with Dylan Ian Mann, the first driver, not to complete a time. Erwin Woodstrut, Fabian Van Doren, and Timothy Reid line up at the back of your LMP1 field.
In the LMP2 field, it's Patrick Schneider on pole position, Johan Hart in second, and Pascal Stix and Ronnie Nunez, Carlo Labati and Alexandre Gravouille, Marcello Maio and Michel Mayer, I should say, in P23 overall. 24th position for Steven Freiburghaus. And then we have René Penkit, Maria Holbeck, Gabriel Rose, and Roel Huben rounding up the very, very competitive LMP2 field.
And speaking of competitive, we head down to our GTE field with Antti Hola taking pole position with a very, very impressive 3:45.4. Aldo Massa in P2 with Matteo Galotti and Jordan Deschamps on the second row in GTE. Anders Dorf, Thrustmaster Movano Racing lines up alongside Julia Prozauer of Raceficat. Joel Guez and Daniel Cruz line up behind them. Joel Kowalik is P37 overall, and Danilo Fonseca is P38. Dennis Neidhart and Edgaras Gudritas, hope I've said that right, P39 and P40. 41st is Ricardo Almeida. 42nd is Colton Landes. Ludwig Gemmer, P43, and Andy Pers just behind him, P44. Getting towards the back of the GT field, P45 is Simon Rohr-Husum, Marcel Schulz, P46, Mark Fletcher, P47, Dan Blake, P48, and the final two drivers on the grid, Michelle Ricci, who failed to set a time, alongside Lauren Miskiewicz, who also failed to set a time. So, yeah, full grid, Marco, for today's race.
Full grid, look at the amount of LMP1s getting ready to take the start. I see one Audi, if I'm not mistaken, there, as the familiar colors of the PRT boys lead the cars towards the start-finish line. Of course, staggered start between all the three classes, which is good if you want to avoid any kind of unfortunate situations. And then it's often one thing to consider before we start, Joseph. So important to avoid a slowdown, especially in the first two laps, because it's not, you don't only lose a lot of time, but also it's so dangerous to take a slowdown, for example, in the Unadier Straight, in the Mulsanne Straight, with all the cars trying to jostle for position, then they find a very, very slow car. It's not very wide there, and there's a lot of bumps left and right of the side of the road, so really you want to avoid a slowdown on this track, which is a track where there are plenty of places where you can get one.
Yeah, obviously it's quite difficult to get off tracks, but as you said, the slowdowns are pretty prominent at this circuit. And if you collect up one of those, you can really lose your time, especially, as you said, in those first couple of laps. It can really drop you right back in the field, especially for the likes of Paddy or Dominic at the start of the race. They do not want to get them. So it looks like Dominic Farber has gone, Marco. Green flag.
Yes, green flag is in the air, and we go for this 1 hour race at Le Mans.
As the LMP1 field get underway, cannot see any issues so far, Marco. It's the LMP2 field now. Patrick Schneider leading the way, followed by Johan Half, Pascal Stix, and Ronnie Nunez is your top four, unchanged so far. Johan Half right on the back of Patrick there. And Tiahola has continued his getaway of the field in that Vendaval Racing car. Aldo Massa P3, Matteo Ugolotti stays P4, Jordan Deschamps in P4, no, Matteo Ugolotti P3, sorry, and Anders Dahl in P5. Two PRT drivers going side by side down the Mulsanne straight, down into that first chicane. So Paddy has got ahead of Dominic at the start of this race, and I think they're going to work together, Marco, to try and force the lead over Carlo Usabi.
Yeah, it works a bit like on the ovals, especially with these long straights. You do something called swap drafting, if possible. So a driver takes the lead, one time is one driver, the other time is another driver, and they try to pull away from Eusebio, who has in turn pulled away from Van der Linden and all the guys behind them. As you can see, Yakubu going for a move on Adam Shipstone, the number 47 machine in front of him.
Yep, that bright orange machine there, trying to get past the Torque Freak car. Adam had a very good start, gaining 2 positions, and speaking of good starts, Johan Half is up into the lead of your LMP2 field ahead of Patrick Schneider. So he has made that move, most likely down the Mulsanne straight to get in the lead, and he's going to force to build a gap. But we all know Patrick Schneider, a very, very good driver.
See the slipstream already playing a big effect, but the three groups already a little bit spread out between the front and the back of the three categories. As we go back to the front of the race, we wait a second, because I think a little bit of a mistake from Aldo Massa there, and this may help Ugolotti and Deschamps gain a position, as they are so close to each other, and this is a tough braking zone. Many drivers get this one wrong, and there's not much runoff area on the left.
Antiola's looked to have built a bit of a gap to that main pack. Is that Roberto Eduard and Dylan Mann going side by side on the run down to the Porsche curves. And it's going to cut across and take that position. Dylan not setting a time in qualifying, so he's going to look to force his way up the field. Already made up 3 positions. And here is the battle in LMP2. Oh! Massive crash there. That's Carlo Labate, and who's that green car?
Ruel Uben, the other LMP2 driver involved, and Labate didn't have a great race last week, and the same I think can be said for this week as well. And we have the first big crash of the evening, and that was a crazy moment. Do you reckon? I mean, of course it's not, but I think, 3 wide on the first lap. I know that Carlo wanted, I think, to get as many positions as possible after a bad start and bad qualifying. But sometimes, it's better to think a bit about what you're doing. But we've seen throughout the season, I might add, the LMP2 field especially has been, always, with many crazy moves. As Dominic Farber, I think, got a slowdown.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been passed by Carlo Usabi. Yeah, definitely got to slow down. That's really going to impact Dominic's run down the first section of the Mulsanne. I might have to boost a bit more to gain back that time. But oh, that's Dylan Mann getting a bit aggressive on the straight there, going for the move on the Torque Freak car. It's put Dylan up to 7th place, gaining 5 positions. So he's going to, as we've seen with Labate being quite aggressive, Dylan's going to have to be a bit conservative. He's going to keep making moves like that.
Absolutely, and we talked about 3 wides, of course, but these drivers don't want to waste time, that is quite sure, as we have some battling in the mid-pack in GTE as well, as I think we can get the battle box up, as Van der Linden is dropping and dropping and dropping.
Looks like a slowdown, similar to what Dom got through Tertre Rouge. So that's Dylan up in 6th, Adam back up into 7th, and Witzel's also dropped the positions from the guys who have got in front. The GT field very close at the front. That's Anders Dahl on, like to say, Ugolotti. Yep, that is. We also saw a move Pros Albert on Jordan Deschamps as well.
As I think Carlo Labate is back on track. I don't know how, after that massive wreck.
That car did look pretty destroyed, but if he thinks he can get it back on track and running, then he's going to do his best to salvage something, even if it is just testing for just getting more laps under his belt around this circuit. Dominic Farber lost a lot of time there, Marco. He's back ahead of Nicholas Schneider, but is now 4 seconds back from Carlo Usabi. So he's got some work to do. Did he have contact with the wall there? I heard a bit of contact with the wall in the Porsche curves.
That was super close.
Cutting it fine. Yeah, and Haas having issues. Looks like another slowdown.
Yeah, he dropped all the way back to P8 in class, and that is, I think, quite possibly a slowdown. I mean, yeah, it's never nice to get a slowdown, sorry there, Joseph, but especially in the first 2 laps here, it's, I mean, massive. And with the field all tightly bunched together, you lose many positions, and then with the slipstream, it's very tough to get back, because you pass a guy, yes, but then he has all the time in the world to get in your draft and try to make a move. As Carlo Labate is off, apparently, once again.
He's got a long way to get up to the pack now, and yeah, that's just not gonna help his cause, is it? Spinning like that, his car must be pretty damaged from that first impact. Obviously no fast repairs in this series, so that's all going to be optional repairs, and maybe some required if it was that bad. But on board with the Ferrari of the Williams gym driver of Aldo Massa, currently being followed along by the Movano driver of Anders Dahl. into the Ford chicanes, looking back at that Ford. Looks like a bit of a train behind Massa Marco. Ugolotti, Albert, Deschamps, Guez, and Daniel Cruz all in that group, and then there's a big 7-second gap to the rest of the field.
Exactly, and it's so it's unbelievable to see. Yes, it's very early, only 3 laps in, but these are 3 long laps, and to see all these cars tightly bunched together, it's amazing considering, you know, we have many different drivers, all of them very good, but you'd imagine after 3 laps they start spreading out a bit. Not these guys here, as we have always seen that the GT field is always very competitive, probably the most competitive together with the LMP2. Whilst in the LMP1 we tend to have, you know, more spread of the drivers around the racetrack.
Especially in that GT class. In that pack, there's all 3 cars used in that, and as in the Ford, Massa and Albert in the Ferrari, and Ugolotti in the Porsche. So it's not like one car is heavily being used. All the cars are being used to their availability, obviously with the current GT Pro Series and the Neo Endurance Series and Sports Car Open, different teams choosing different cars for what they're running in that. So that could be a port of call, and there is the nose of the Ford of the Movano car. Heading down into that second chicane. And yeah, Dahl has got him. By the looks of it, Marco.
He went, oh, Patrick Wolf. Does he have a penalty or some damage? Farber also is in. No, this must be a strategy call.
This must be a PRT strategy, pitting as early as possible so they're not getting that GTE traffic straight away. 15 minutes into the race, we'll have to see, unless he has got a penalty.
Serving penalty, I think.
Tima says it's penalty, but it's strange to see both PRT cars coming at once, which leads to my thinking of it being a strategy call. We'll have to see what that is.
Wolf had a 10-second stop and 9.4, so maybe not a who knows?
Guess we'll have to wait and find out. Here's Dylan Mann up into P4 now, behind his teammate of Ismail Yakubu. Carlo Usabi now promoted to the lead of this race, and Nicholas Schneider in P2 for Sorg Rennsport Esports. So Usabi might be a bit surprised by what's happened with the early pit stops, but he does now find himself in the lead. He takes that second chicane, clipping those curbs as much as possible, but making sure he doesn't damage the floor of this car, because if you get floor damage down here, you're going to have big issues.
Of course, Carlo driving for his new team, Leo Racing Team, a new Italian team, and they have a very nice yellow livery on there, as we see once again Johan Hart making his way through the field, even though it's not easy.
After that slowdown, he's going to want to get right back to the front. He knows he's got the pace of Pascal and Patrick, but he's got to get back up there first.
See, he made the move and maybe has more pace than Michael Mayer, but you see, he is not able to pull away, and he might be under attack in the second chicane here on the Mulsanne straight.
Johan's really going to be pushing. There's Dylan. The run down to the Porsche curves. Looking behind to see that car, Alexander Witzel of JRD Racing, I believe. Both drivers participating in the SU Endurance Championship at the weekend. Not much separating the two drivers at the moment. Speaking of not separating drivers at the moment, Aldo Massa and Anders Dahl still so close. Antihola's just pulled away Marco from these guys.
He has, and all this constant battling behind is helping him a lot, as everyone moved up in this field, apart from Ugolot, who dropped 3 positions from his starting one, and now he's in the clutches of his teammate. Clutches is a big word. I mean, he's getting closed in by his teammate of 1050 Racing, Michele Ricci, who started at the back of the GT pack, and now he is in he's in a decent 9th position in his class. But once again, Anders Dahl and Aldo Massa are going at it.
That Ford now. As you say, it's still just so close. Bit of a gap now between the Navano and the Jim driver compared to the other guys. About 2 seconds. Similar to the gap that Antiohola has in the lead.
Here comes Massa with a good run, but I think he will have to lift just a bit. Not easy to follow a car in front of you with all the dirty air, even though these cars are not that aero sensitive, but still in a corner like that it's very tough to do so.
Making a move into Indianapolis can be quite risky unless you have a huge overspeed going into the corner, so making sure he doesn't have any issues. So this is a very long race, so we're only 15 minutes in. And Ismail Yakubu is chasing down Nicholas Schneider for P2 of the race. Nicholas Schneider makes a mistake going into Mulsanne corner. Is Ismail going to look for a move, or is he just going to hold back? A bit of boost in that. Are they going to make it too wide? Looks like Ismail's going to hold back for now. Or not, he's going to go around the outside. No, he thinks better of it. As said, going for a move in Indianapolis is quite risky. Ismail thinks better of it. This is allowing Dylan Mann to catch up to the two of them, and allowing Carlo Usavi to pull away. Back to our LMP2 field. Rene Pinkwit chasing down Maya Michael.
I think Daniel Cruz lost a couple of positions, just very quickly. I thought it was, I think, a little bit of an issue with the connection, so apologies for the quick cut there, because then he came back up to the... But you can see Ugolotti dropping back quite a bit from these guys, so I think he had a good qualifying pace, but certainly not the required race pace, as now we have Marcello Maio under attack from Alexandre Gravouille in P4 of the LMP2 field.
Yep, looking to make up those positions. I believe I have some news from the stops of the two PRT drivers. Dom and Paddy both got penalties for jumping the start.
Wow.
So that explains why they came in. I thought it was a bit early for a pit stop and a bit of a radical strategy, but they're going to have to come through their way to fight back through the pack. 32 seconds is the gap to leader from Patrick Wolf. Currently P14 in LMP1, so he's just going to be looking to bang out the laps. And there's Dominic Farber, 39 seconds behind your race leader, so they're going to be pushing to try and salvage a good result from them, from this race.
Let's get on board with the beautiful sounding Porsche 911 GT RSR. Oh yeah, thank you to Josh Thompson. Sorry, Joseph. Josh Thompson gave us the reason why the 1050 drivers are so far back. That is Michele Costantini spotting for them. So, you know, when you have a bad spotter, the car goes 10 miles an hour faster on the straight. Slower with a bad spotter, not faster. But yeah.
Jordan Deschamps following Giulio Perez Albert, chasing the red and yellow Ferrari. Surely he's not going to go for a move in the Porsche curves. Such a flowing section of the track, these Porsche curves.
And so easy to get it wrong. And yes, in real life they put a safer barrier there now, but still you don't want to either real life or iRacing, because that is absolutely game over for you most of the time.
Somewhere else where you need to get right as the 4 chicanes there. Back on board with your driver MP3 in your LMP2 category. Currently batting with Alexander Gouville. He's got a cone stuck under the car, has Gouville. Can you see that, Marco?
Trying to
no,
get
it looks like it's gone.
Yeah, I was trying to get a good look from the rear. There's the when you brake hard for that corner there at Mulsanne, there's that cone there that actually, if you hit it, you get a time penalty, a little bit of a slowdown. As Gravouille goes for the move on the outside. Once again, this corner can be quite tricky, but he is able to get a nice move.
Makes it stick. Very good move there from Greville. Now he's going to look to get on the back of Pascal Sticks and maintain this position.
As we can see, Carlo Labate making his way through the GT field. So apparently, I can see that car not being very straight. You see he's correcting his wheel frequently, if not even not dramatically, but he's doing so on the straight. And that means that at least he's got some problems, as finally the LMP1s have caught up with the GT field. So let the fun begin for them.
This is where it gets interesting. As Dominic Farber sets the fastest lap of the race, so both drivers are really pushing hard. A 3:15.2 from Farber there, and a 3:15.6 from Patrick. So really pushing now, gap down to 27 seconds from Patrick to the race leader, and Patrick is gaining time on the back of the LMP1 field.
As you can see at the bottom right side of your screen, the gap live between Eusebi and Farber, and that is 32.8, as we say hello to the third member of our boot, as per usual, my dog. Really cannot hold herself during my broadcasts. And you can see the gap is dropping, but of course it's still a sizable gap, Joseph. 32 seconds is quite a lot now. Maybe Dominic can and Patrick can use a bit of the traffic to their advantage, since I think they won't be in traffic for quite a bit of time, and maybe the gap will come down a bit more. But still, a big mountain to climb with what effectively is one more stop than the other guys in the LMP1 field.
Yeah, I was supposed to say something else, Marco. Looks like Johan Half is out of the race. Didn't catch what happened to him. He's disconnected.
He hasn't crashed, because we don't see anything in the event viewer. So I think sadly a disconnection for him, because we have no signs of a crash or a problem.
That is a shame then for year and a half. No longer in this race. And back on board with the battle for P5 in the GT, P4 in the GT class, sorry. And you see these LMP1s trying to make their way through this field.
Oh, bouncing out of the curbs there is Alexander Feitzel, but he's still able to complete the pass on, I think that was Anders Dahl. As yes, Johan Hart is dropping on the order, hasn't connected back again, and I think that will be game over for him, as now Dylan Mann and Ismail Yakubu, the two VRT drivers, are in third and fourth, and of course Dylan Mann, let's not forget, the winner in the LMP1 category last week at Spa.
Yep, all sorts of carnage last week, and doesn't look like Dom's having another enjoyable week. But Dom has managed to get past Ismail, and he's got 4.5 seconds up to Mr. Schneider in that sword cart in front of him. Ismail sitting in the toe there, and looks like they've cleared all the GTEs now. So Dylan's going to have to do some pushing to get in front of Schneider. Is Patrick Wolf fighting his way through the field. He's gained 2 positions, one on Timothy Reid and one on Javier Borgias.
And here is Dominic Farber just behind him, so I was wrong. They are getting the traffic as well.
Look at all that traffic.
Yeah, and
so much.
It's not going to be easy for them to get back to the front of the pack in their class, because you know, it's Eusebi is here and they are here. So maybe we can show us on the track map. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a very long track. So if we go with the track map, as you can see, yellow number 1 is Eusebi, and yellow number 12 with the green green color outside is Patrick Wolf. So he's got quite a long way to go still.
Yeah, Patrick sort of dipping in and out of the traffic down that straight there. Just looking to get through it as fast as possible. He's going to be losing time because, of course, Carlo isn't in this traffic now. Carlo's cleared it all. And as he gets past the final GT car in that field, your race leader, Antti Ahola, and looks to chase down the only Audi in the field, Erwin Rudstra. As Dominic not too far behind now. Gets past the fourth there. Chasing down Timothy Reid. Dominic was 10 seconds faster last time around, so Dom seems to have the pace advantage. Unless Timothy just made a bit of a mistake.
You know, it's really weird what happened at the start of the race. I think that I was having doubts about one of the two PRT guys at the start, but I didn't think that both of them would have, you know, gotten a penalty for their start. So, you know, last week we had that pile up at the very beginning of the race, and now we have this. So, I mean, it's not an easy race for these PRT guys, but you know, for us in the booth, the positive side of all this is that they will have to move through the field and put on a show for us, which I know they are absolutely capable of, even though I think they would have preferred to stay, you know, somewhere else alone at the front.
Yeah, I'm sure they both would have wanted to be 1-2 at this point. But that's not the case. The two VRT drivers battling away. Yakubu and Mann. Yakubu winning the battle this time. And the second straight, what's Mann going to do? It's Patrick getting past the Audi now. Up into P11. Looks like Ismail's just going to stay ahead this time. Nearly halfway into this race, Marco now. 28 minutes on the clock, 32 to go.
We had an issue
Down.
for Dennis Neidhart. Oh!
Was that one of the PRT cars?
Yeah, the number 8 machine, that was Dominic Farber.
So flashing his lights there. He just hasn't pulled out soon enough by the looks of things. And just lightly tapped Neidhart around. So he's flashing at this point. And it's a close one.
Tough to call,
yeah,
in my opinion.
Very difficult. Bit of a misjudgment on both sides there. But Dominic's still going.
Oh, this is wrong replay, right replay.
Looking him up. GTE field. What's going to happen here? Just gone too deep into Indianapolis and got into the gravel. Doesn't seem to have lost too much time though. So, lucky from him there.
We had also another problem here. Oh, Jesus!
That's the Radicals Online driver of Mark Fletcher. And is that a GTL VRT car?
Trying to find out the name of the other driver, but it was maybe Pavel Kovalik with his Ferrari. Yes,
Looks like it.
So some crashes now. Apparently the drivers are losing a little bit of patience, and we've seen some potentially big wrecks that likely involved only a handful of drivers. But yeah, of course, half of the race is out of the way, and as per usual, every week we talk about strategy, and the strategy, Joseph, is
one stop around this track. Well, right in all these races, just fuel, no tyres. Just a quick splash and dash to the end for all classes, essentially. As Cuban, it's the two 1050 drivers, in fact, of Ricci and Ugolotti. Ricci. Oh!
Ugolotti.
Yeah.
Oh, Ugolotti. Okay.
Ugolotti might have damage. Not too sure, but he got a bit twitchy in the Porsche curves.
I mean, Ricci is one of the fastest drivers with this car, I think. So it was, I think a matter of time until he got past his teammate. But that was a bit of a weird moment from Ugolotti. I have no idea what happened there. But yeah, Ricci now has got a long way to go. Joel Goose is in front of him. And as you can see, he is, I think, around 7 seconds ahead of Ricci in his nicely colored Ferrari there, as we go back to the LMP1 field with Fabian Van Doren and Robert Edouard fighting it out for P8, and behind them Patrick Wolf is coming.
Indeed he is, the geodesic car and the blue flag car. Again, going to get chased down by the PRT car. Geodesic car currently leading to the black and gold livery on the Porsche. I believe Ugolotti might have some damage, Marco. He's slowly dropping back from Ricci. 4 seconds is the gap now. So, might have been damage from that issue he had in the Porsche curves.
Yeah, I think as basically the entire LMP2 field, besides Labati and Gravwheel, are in the pits at the same time.
Schneider, well, doesn't come out in the lead actually. It's actually Graville, but believe he made the early pit stop. Maybe not actually.
I think he still has to pit.
Yeah, my bad. Pascal sticks, however. Oh, sliding through turn 2. Keeping it one piece though. You see Jordan Deschamps now. P5 in GTE.
And I have confirmation that Ugolotti has damage from that contact. As we can see, Deschamps with a nice run on the Ferrari in front of him, who is sporting the Catalan flag on its rear wing. A good run from Deschamps here.
I don't think he's going to make a move into the Porsche car. It just seems a bit too far back at the moment. Yeah. Slight lift just before. I think we've seen our first LMP1 driver in the pits that wasn't a penalty. Fabian Van Doren in for his one and only stop.
Yeah, coming out right now from the pit lane, and I think we've had an issue for Anders Dahl, I think, who was having a great race, P2 in the GT field. Oh, he just went wide and then into the grass at the final chicane, and that is some precious time lost for him.
Oh, and who was that? Was that Guez having to take avoiding action in the background?
Also, I think also we had a problem for Albert Julia, who was just following this train.
That wouldn't have been Guez. It would have been yeah, it would have been Albert.
Oh, and he hit the wall.
Into the wall. Patrick Wolf getting ahead of Edouard, or no? Edouard trying to get past Paddy. By the looks of it, Paddy's got past and Edouard's boosted back past. Paddy now up into P9 in LMP1 off getting past Jungbluff. He's gapped him by 8 seconds. HPD, they're getting out of the way of the LMP1 drivers.
As Carlo Eusebi is in the pits from the lead, and Niklas Schneider follows him closely. Will the two VRT guys? Yes, they are in. And Alexander Weitzel is in as well. Adam Shipstone is in. Rafa van der Linden is in. I think everyone is coming.
Yeah.
Apart
Patrick
from
stays
the
out.
PRT guys staying out. Fabian Jungblut in his pink LMP1, and also Dominic Farber stays out. That is Erwin Wustra, unmistakable with his Audi. And that is pretty much the entirety of the LMP1 field. Bourgeois is in as well.
Looks like everyone apart from the two PRT drivers. And who's that in the background? Is that Timothy Reed having a little spin on the entry?
And also our first LMP1 in the pits, which was of course Fabian Van Doren. I think he has had an issue because he has disappeared from our timing screen. We saw him come out of the pits. Did he get a penalty for that? And maybe he said, okay, time to park the car?
Not
because
quite sure.
He touched the white line.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know why he's gone, but he's now out of the race. Your first LMP1 retirement of this evening's race. Carly said he should take a net lead if the two PLC drivers when they come in.
I mean, Joseph, for those guys now, basically the race is go as fast as possible and pit as late as possible and try to limit the damage, basically.
Yeah, they've got to stretch out as far as they can go and try and do the best they can with what they have. Obviously, it's not ideal for either of them, but they're going to try and salvage something from this result.
People asking for the live timing in the chat, and I shall provide you with it, and I apologize for not doing so. Here we go. So GT field,
yep.
They are
GT
going in the pits, almost all of them.
Perez stand out, and Zundschomp stand out. Everyone else I can see. Daniel Cruz also stand out. All the other GT drivers staying out. Coming in, sorry. My apologies.
It's so tricky, this pit entrance. Very easy to get it wrong, and I see guys darting on the right at the last possible moment, basically.
Yeah, there's a lot of times a game with this entry, but if you get it wrong, you can get it wrong big time.
Aola and Massa are the first guy to come out of the pits, as also Dal and Albert Julia and I think that is Michele Ricci, yes, coming out of the pits. As I mean, basically we are done with pit stops in all of the classes. As Ugolotti is dropping and he's going either the wrong way or in reverse. I'm a bit puzzled, if you ask me.
Must have had an incident somewhere.
Okay, he was already going the wrong way, so... Okay, this should be the right replay. We've got nice shot of the trees around Le Mans. Same corner as earlier. This...
Didn't hit the wall this time. It looks like that damage earlier caused the rear of the car to be a bit unstable. So he's had the same issue. And he just kept backing up.
Patrick Wolf in the pits.
Yep, I'm expecting Dominic Farber to follow him in. Or no, Dom stays out.
Let's see where Patrick Wolf comes out. Dylan Mann went by. Alexander Weitzel went by. Here comes Van der Linden. I think that Wolf should be comfortably in front.
Comfortably.
And he is in P7. Yep. Now all the cameras should be, or all our clocks, the timing should be focusing on Dominic Farber, because I think he's due in next in this lap, as he gets by that Porsche there, and he cuts the chicane, which will result in a slowdown. And now we'll see where he's going to come out after his pit stop, and then we will have a clearer idea of what will happen in the final 20 minutes or so of this race.
Yep, going in and out of the traffic there, Marco, is Mr. Farber. So, as you said, he's just going to be pushing as hard as he can, trying to minimise the gap. Going down into Mulsanne corner now.
Let's get some the speedometer up and see his gear, and let's see his speed while we go through the final part of the Le Mans circuit.
All the different teams will be running slightly different boost strategies, so Dom and Paddy will probably be running something similar, getting up to around 340Ks I'd expect. Down to Indianapolis, and indeed he does. 3:15.9 last lap for Dominic Farber. Head down into the Porsche curves, expecting him to pit this lap. See the GT traffic. in front of him there. And LMP2, that's Ronnie Nunez, I believe. And the other GTEs are in the pits, Marco. Jordan Deschamps, Joel Guez, and Daniel Cruz all in.
Yes, and I think then we are done with the pit stops, as Farber should go to the right. He does, and that means he is in for his stop. We have Patrick Schneider in the lead in the LMP2 field, Pascal Stix, Ronnie Nunez, and then Marcello Maio in fourth and Gravili in fifth. We had a couple of issues, by the way, while we were on board with with Farber. Sorry, we will see very soon when he and where he comes back on the track, as this is Dan Blake going around at Tertre Rouge. So Eusebi,
Very close. The LMP1 there.
yeah, Eusebi, Schneider, Yakubu. Farber is still in his pit box. Here comes Weitzel, and that is, of course, Farber's teammate Patrick Wolf. And here he comes out, as Van der Linden once again is the guy that comes close, but I think, barring any crazy happenings, he will stay behind the number 8 machine.
That's the GTE passing Dom and getting straight up past. Yeah, looks like he's got him. He's got an 8-second gap to his teammate, which was similar to what he was at before the stop.
We have an issue for Marcel Schulz. Apologies.
Oh, just got on the curb there, but looks of it. And into the wall.
And Niklas Schneider also in the LMP1 field had a problem, apparently. Locking the brakes, and yeah, when you lock the brakes with this car, you are straight on, basically. There's no way to save the car.
GT field Andy Pears in that Hellenic racing car, chasing down Simon Roahusen. And there is Owen Woostra battling away with Roberto Edouard in his Audi R18.
Always nice to have one Audi in the field, you know, even though the community has been trying for many years, well, for the entirety of the past year, to get the Audi on an equal footing with the Porsche 919. Hopefully some news about this coming in the next few weeks, with the Season 2 release coming shortly. And speaking of that, as Patrick Wolf is going for a move on no one, because he just went past Alexander Weitzel, so apologies. Speaking of the new build, Joseph, we got the big news the other day. The M8 GTE is coming to iRacing, both in this series and in the IMSA series. A much welcome addition, I think, to the GTE class. Front engine car, nice car, big car apparently, and I am very excited. What about you?
Yeah, it's going to be good to see another car in that GTE field. Obviously, we got the Porsche, nearly a year ago, not far off now. So it'll be good to see another addition. It'll be interesting to see how many drivers drive it and what the BAP will be like at the start of the season. But yeah, the M8 is a very welcome addition. And I'm certainly looking forward to driving it when it comes out.
So, front of the pack, Carlo Eusebi lapping an LMP2 car. I called it a bit too early. Now he should have the speed to go past, and he is not happy apparently. Niklas Schneider following closely, but look, he's got GTEs and LMP2s in front of him, which is the worst situation possible when you have the three classes all bunched together. As Raf van der Linden is dropping and he's going into the pits. I think he already went once. This should be second stop. It says one because he has yet to, come in and out. So not good for him. And then we have Ismail Yakubu and Dylan Mann we have swapped positions once again. You see the orange car of Yakubu there, and the purple car of Dylan Mann in P4, and lurking behind is Patrick Wolf in P5.
Yeah, Patrick coming along. Antiola, your GTE leader now. So you still got that gap to likes of Aldo Massa and Jordan Deschamps. And there's the LMP1 car, is that Usabi? Indeed it is, it's your race leader. And there's Pascal Sticks going past in the LMP2 car in P2 for Ava Vavatic. And Nicholas Schneider flying away in that hybrid Porsche 919.
Speed differential always astonishing in my opinion. I never stop to be amazed by how quickly these LMP1 cars can not only come at you but then run away. Aldo Massa is sitting in second, getting by some, or about to get lapped by some of the LMP2s, and I think that is Dylan Mann also doing the overtake there. Jordan Deschamps is up to P3. Of course, he used the problem that Anders Dahl had, the spin in the final chicane a few laps ago, that dropped him down to P4, and Joel Guez, Mr. JRT, sitting in P5 right now with car number 12 is, once again, very nicely colored Ferrari there, as situation seems to be a bit stable now in all of the three classes, as we are heading into the final 10 minutes, and Guez goes a bit wide, but nothing major happening there. And Edouard and Woostra are battling it out for PA9, and it seems like Edouard just got the move on the Audi. I just noticed just now the blue flag racing livery for car number 28. Of course, we have had the pleasure to commentate on Ralph Cullinan, one of the drivers of this team for many seasons in the BSR series.
I think the gap between Usabi and Schneider's dropping, just under 2.5 seconds now. As you can see, there is Schneider with the Porsche Basel Sorg Rennsport eSports car. Bit of a mouthful, but in that distinctive livery, which I always thought is quite like the Toyota livery, Marco.
Yeah, looks a bit like it, I have to be honest with you. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, the gap is going down and down. The more you look at the lap time and the gap between these two guys, the more it drops. 2.4 seconds now, and as you can see from the graphics, it has gone down and down in the last few laps. 10 minutes are not a lot, but at the same time they can be a lot, especially if Schneider is able to get in the slipstream of Eusebi and if lap traffic plays some part. Now I look at the horizon there from the camera view, and I don't seem to see any kind of cars, but with the speed that these cars have, like once again, yeah, they should be in the clear for the rest of the race, apart from a couple of drivers here and there, but I don't think they will be that quick to come back and go back to the snake, to the end of the snake, the rear end of the snake, so to speak, with the rest of the GTE and LMP2 field. So it might be a straight shootout from now until the finish of the race between Eusebi and Schneider. I was about to call him Eusebi for whatever reason.
Yeah, so we're on lap 16 now. These races usually last between 18 or 19 laps, depending on the pace of the field. We'll have to wait and see when we get the white flag, when it drops. But Nicholas Schneider, gap stayed around the same for the past lap. It was 8 tenths faster last lap, Schneider, so we head to Usabi, and is Marcello Maio on Alexandre Guval.
Everyone going wide there. Let's remember 17 incident points are allowed to these drivers for the entirety of the race, which means basically you get 1 incident point for going off the track, 2 for a spin or some light contact with the wall, tire barrier, whatever, and 4 for hard contact with another car. So you have to spend them wisely, and you know, hopefully you don't spend them at all, you know, but it's so hard, especially with all these different cars sharing the same bits of tarmac, sometimes going wide, making a mistake, you know, having a little bit of a contact is almost inevitable. But I mean, we've seen a pretty clean race, cleaner than Daytona, I might say, even though we had a couple of big crashes, but maybe it helps that this is a very long track, so cars are more spread out than usual, as Mayo and Graville side by side once again. Oh, they saved it.
And there's Nunes sneaking in behind as well. So now a three-way battle for the final spot on the podium. Pascal Stix and Patrick Snyder are just a bit too far away, a bit out of reach. And there's a big gap between Nunes and Penquit, so it's going to be between these three who gets on the podium.
1.5 seconds the gap between Eusebi and Schneider. So dropping and dropping. 6 minutes left in the race, or I should say 6 minutes left until the clock reaches 1 hour. Then, depending on when these guys are, we will get either one more lap, one less lap. It depends. It's a very long track, this one, like I said, and 3 minutes 16 more or less is the lap time that the LMP1 guys are doing. So who knows, as Graville goes wide and hits the wall, and that is some significant damage. He hit pretty squarely on the left side, but you can see already the damage. Let's see if his steering is okay. Seems to be okay, but he lost a lot of time.
He's going to be down on the straights for sure. Yeah, he is really dropping from Nunes.
Those poor cones being destroyed all race long. The one at the entrance of Mulsanne especially is, has been taking quite the pounding throughout the day. Quick rundown of the top 5 positions as we head into the final 5 minutes. Eusebi is the leader. You can see Niklas Schneider is super close, 1.7 seconds. Then it's Yakubu, Mann and Patrick Wolf. Nice comeback from the number 2 driver. Then in the LMP2 field, Schneider, Stix and Mayo. 4th is Nunez, and 5th, sporting now some damage, is Alexandre Graville, and his next opponent, Michael Mayer, is a bit back, so he shouldn't be in any trouble. GT, Antiaola and Aldo Massa, these two came together at Spa last week, remember? And they both got disqualified for that contact. Then we have Jordan Deschamps in P3, Anders Dahl in 4th, and Joel Guetz in 5th place, as we have just behind them a pass. Richie going past Daniel Cruz. Back at the front of the race.
1.6 seconds now. The gap between Eusebi and Schneider. Italy versus Germany. Both team and driver. Eusebi coming out on top at the moment.
So I'm not very good at maths, but I think we will have, this lap and one more.
I believe so. Yeah, it looks like it will just be 2 laps. Yep, so it will last 2. Actually, it will be very close, actually, Marco, whether we do actually get that or not.
And of course we are speculating about this for the new viewers, because this can play a huge part. Not in this race. Yes, I mean, Niklas Schneider would love to have one more lap, but also very importantly for the slower classes, because it's not easy to guess the right amount of fuel, especially in these long tracks where you can quite easily have 1 lap more than you expect. And 1 lap more of fuel in these tracks is quite a lot of time spent in the pit, more than your average stop. So drivers are always searching for that extra bit of time in the pits, and sometimes they underfuel their car. So it's always a risky strategy, but you have to take risks if you want to get good finishing in these higher splits. So we will see. Also, apart from that, like I said, we have a very interesting race for the overall lead, as the gap is now down to 1 second. So I would say, Joseph, that Eusebi has got Schneider in his slipstream right now.
Yeah, and he doesn't want him to be there. Is he going to get him? He's going to loosen a bit more by the looks of it. So LMP2 traffic on the right hand side, and Eusebi's going to try and get in the slipstream, Marco.
Lost quite a bit there, probably different usage of the boost as they go by that LMP2. I think a teammate of Eusebi, by the way, judging by the livery, but look at how...
Might be Labate.
It should be Labate, you are absolutely right. It is Labate. As Farber is defending from Weitzel here, and so still have a battle for sorry, Farber went past Weitzel, and now, I mean, Patrick Wolf is too far ahead, I think, to pose any kind of a threat. So we will get one more lap or no. We will know in just a few seconds, as Eusebi maybe lifting a bit, maybe not. This is going to be super close.
But are we going to get the checked flag?
No, we are not. One more lap. And Niklas Schneider is in the pits.
He hasn't fueled enough. So that promotes Ismail Yakubu and Dylan Mann up into P2 and 3.
Wow. Patrick Wolf, fastest lap of the race now in P4. Let's see in the other classes what the situation is with the fuel, as Niklas Schneider is still refueling and he lost a bunch of time. And we have a crash in the GT field, Ricci and Cruz. Oh!
Oh. They're going to sort themselves out, and yeah, Richie and Cruz carry on going. I don't think Daniel Cruz will be very happy with that.
No, I don't think so. Farber, P5 for him. As we have Jungblut also in the pits. Labate is in the pits, but because he crashed again. So not his race. Eusebi pulling away from no one, because I am, of course, Schneider has been in the pits and out. So now he's down to P7.
Yeah, Marco, looks like the PRT drivers have salvaged something from this race. Patrick
Absolutely.
up into P4 and Dominic up into P5.
Yes,
so,
absolutely. And
yeah,
I'm sure they are good on fuel, because we know they had 2 stops. So I think they overfueled a bit. Just, you know, sometimes you get 2 pit stops, so it's tougher to get the fuel wrong. Aldo Massa. Where is Aldo Massa? No fuel. Wow.
He's forgotten to take the fuel. Probably not realising there was going to be another lap.
Jordan Deschamps is out of fuel.
Same issue.
Why is he still in the middle of the track? It's beyond me.
Yep, confirmation in the race chat that Aldo Massa ran out of fuel.
Let's see if we had surprises in the other classes as well, as Carlo Eusebi is about this time for real to get the checkered flag and win this little bit longer than usual race. And that white flag at the wrong time really put some of the drivers into a very tough position.
Eusebi wins round 11 of the iRacing Le Mans series here at Le Mans. Congratulations to Eusebi, Ismail Yakubu, and Dylan Mann. Cross line in P2 and 3 in LMP1, getting on your podium. And Patrick Wolf and well, it looks like Witzel has got back past Dom.
He has, and here comes Patrick Schneider in the lead of the LMP2 class, and also getting a nice result as well, Stix and Mayo, as we have other drivers dropping positions. I think everyone is very running on fumes basically. And here he comes. Patrick Schneider wins in the LMP2 class with Pascal Stix in second, and here comes Marcello Maio in third as we move our attention to the GTE class.
Antiola on into Indianapolis.
He is saving fuel.
Indeed. Yeah, he's got a big gap with Aldo Massa and was it John Deschamps running out of fuel? So congratulations to the winners of all the classes and the drivers on the podium, as we're still watching the GTE field come to an end. But he's got a big gap, hasn't he? Marco, 12 seconds back to the Movano driver Anders Dahl.
Yeah, he's taking it super taking it easy, and it doesn't need to risk or push too hard. Anders Dahl, in the end, after his problem with his spin, in the end gets P2, so he limits the damage and gets on the podium. Here comes Antiola, race winner in the GT class at Le Mans. And here comes Anders Dahl. He will get P2. And Joel Guetz, he will be in P3, bouncing hard on those curbs. If he ran out of fuel, it would have been, embarrassing, but he will not run out of fuel because he's Mr. JRT, So I think he's well prepared in these situations. All the other drivers coming, Ricci, Miskiewicz, Cruz. And so the rest of the GT field is slowly but surely coming through the start-finish line. Joseph, what a nice race, and we had excitement up and down the 1 hour race that we had, and these pesky white flag in the end really proved to be very destructive for some of the drivers.
Yeah, definitely. It was a interesting race with thrills and spills in all the classes. An unexpected winner in LMP1. Nothing against Eusebi, but we expected obviously one of the PRT drivers to come out on top. But penalties forced that issue, and Patrick Schneider putting on a dominant display in LMP2, and GT was full of battles as well. So it was overall a pretty good race, wasn't it, Marco?
Exactly, it was a great race, and the race results should be on your screen right now, starting with the LMP1 field.
But, sorry. Carlo Eusebi takes your win, as said, with a 5.4 second lead over Ismail Yakubu. in P2. Dylan Mann runs out the podium in your LMP1 class. Patrick Wolf, PRT, P4. Alexander Witzel, P5. Dominic Farber having issues on that final lap in P6, and having even bigger issues was Nicholas Schneider had to come in for a refuel just at the end for P7. Adam Shipstone, P8. Robert Edward, P9. Owen Woodster, P10. Javier Borges, P11. Raf van der Linden, P12. P13 was Fabian Jumbluff. P14 was Timothy Reid, and your one retirement in LMP1 this evening was Fabian Van Doren.
In the LMP2 category, Patrick Schneider brings home the race win in front of Pascal Six and Marcello Maio. Then just outside of the podium position, Ronnie Nunez and Michel Mayer. Then Alexander Gravulli in 6th, René Penguit in 7th. Steven Freiburghaus is in 8th, Maria Olweg in 9th, then Gabriel Roos, Carlo Labbati, Johan Hart, and Roel Huben. These last 3 guys have been your retirements. And finally, Joseph, we have the GT class.
Yep. Anciola takes the win in your GT class with Anders Dahl and Joel Guez taking your podium positions. Michaela Ricci in P4, Lauren Miskiewicz P5, Daniel Cruz in P6, Julia Prozal at P7, Danilo Fonseca P8, Andy Perez P9, Colton Landes P10, Simon Rora Husum P11, Edgarus Gudaitis P11, Ludwig Gemma behind him, Aldo Massa having issues at the end, having to refuel, Dan Blake, Ricardo Almeida, Jordan Deschamps having the same issue as Aldo Massa, and Dennis Neidhart also having issues. And your retirements this evening, Mark Fletcher, Marcel Schultz, Matteo Galotti, and Paweł Kowalik.
We have time for a couple of very, very quick interviews. We start with, I'd say, Ismail Yakubu. Here he comes. And let's bring Dylan Mann as well, both guys from the VRT squad. Hello, guys.
So,
hello. Hey.
Joseph, take it away.
So, Dylan, Ismail, P2 and 3. What happened in qualifying and how was your race overall?
Go on, Dylan, you go first.
my qualifying got a good lap off, and then at the final corner I made a mistake and off track, so that was great. Starting from the back's fun, so yeah, wasn't great.
Yeah, for me, I only logged on with about 5 minutes to go for the quali, so I could only do one lap. And obviously came, I can't remember, 6th, 7th, 8th, something like that. So, and yeah, to be honest, I was just focusing on keeping it clean because this is my first race of the week. Usually I try and get at least 1 or 2 races before I go into such a high strength of field, but didn't have that chance. But yeah, came out all right. Can't complain with second.
Yep, obviously we saw the PRT guys have penalties for the jump start. Were you expecting that? Were you surprised when they came into the pits?
I had no idea. Dylan was the one that told me. I was like, what? No way. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, that was quite funny.
Yeah, I had a sneaky feeling they might, but they didn't come in straight away, so I was I was doubting myself. But yeah, it was a weird race, and then Nick obviously had to pit at the end, which we predicted at the pits because I'm a god. So
yeah, he was saying he was going to pit, and I'm like, nah, I think he's all right. And he's like, yeah, no, he'll definitely pit. I'm like, nah, I think he's pretty good. And then he pitted, so he said, in your face, Yak. So I'm like, oh, fair play.
So next week, final round of the season at Silverstone. Are you two looking forward to that race?
yeah, I'm looking forward to Silverstone, I guess. I mean, I haven't really raced it much, so I'll try and see if my pace is all right, get some championship points, and wrap up. Hopefully, my Division 2 title.
Yeah, I'm not doing the race. Rubbish track. Somebody give me a call when they update it to the actual latest version of Silverstone.
Yep. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out? And congratulations on your podium positions.
I'll shout out Dom for that start. Beautiful start. Cheers for the positions. And Nick for underfueling, I guess.
And I want to shout out me, just because. I'll see you guys
Beautiful.
later.
Goodbye, children.
Thank you from Dylan Mann and Ismail Yakubu, your drivers from P2 and P3 this evening in your LMP1 class. I think we have time for one more, Marco. Urban Woodstruck, would you like to take it away?
Yes, here comes Mr. Audi himself, Erwan Woodstra, today, P10. So, how is it, Erwan, running around with the only Audi of the field, being surrounded by so many Porsches?
Depressing, slow, GP2 engine. Nah, I do feel sad that I'm the only Audi, but hey, Porsche is just OP here.
Uh,
Still,
there has been some, yeah, there has been some calls in the, also in the forums earlier today, if I'm not mistaken, community is trying to get the two cars sort of balanced, but now this is a problem that has been going on for basically since these cars came out. It was 1 year ago, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, the problem is that the fuel flow is wrong. Like there's no limitation to it. So basically, that's the only thing that keeps the Audi and the Porsche together, and they've taken it away. So now it's just Audi can use as much fuel as it wants, and Porsche as well, which bo- makes the Porsche just better because it's overall it's the better car. Like
Yeah, next week, Silverstone. I think it could be, even though we have no idea about it, but it could be the last hooray for the old layout. We know that the new layout is coming. We don't know when, but it's a track that divides the opinions because people either want to race there or say until we have the new version, we are not racing there. What are your thoughts about the old Silverstone?
I think it's great. I like it as much as the new Silverstone. The new Silverstone with the track out layout, T1, like the section between T1 and till it gets to the old track, um, is nice. It's slow speed though, which I don't really like. I like high speed corners. But and the old layout, well, it's something different. And for me, who likes historical tracks, it's a lot of fun to drive. But I think I'll have a good chance there at least. And I am looking forward where if they put the new Silverstone in, I'm looking forward to it. If they don't, I don't mind running the old Silverstone. I like it a lot.
Thank you very much, man. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
No one in particular.
Thank you very much, man, and we will catch you hopefully next week.
Yes, we will. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Joseph, here we go with another race in the books. Next week is Silverstone, and then it's the well-deserved week 13 where we all take a break and we prepare. We will, get our racing tracks on iRacing a little bit larger and wider because the M8 is coming.
Yep, we'll be testing that in week 13. And thank you everyone for tuning in for what was an interesting race here at the Circuit de la Sarthe for round 11 of the iRacing Le Mans series. We hope you all enjoyed it. From everyone here at Apex Racing TV, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from you, Marco, I guess.
Exactly, and as per usual, the World F3 is starting in just a few minutes. We'll catch you next week on Wednesday, 7 GMT as per usual. But until then, I wish you a good night and happy racing.